Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is another M.O.T.B warning, right? We can see the system being set up all around the world, right? That's laying the foundation to allow the M.O.T.B, which is the mark of the beast, which is a physical chip that we implemented into your skin to operate in the world, right? And we understand that the aspects of this chip and the things surrounding it, one according to scripture, and two because they themselves have spoken on it. The scriptures say that they shall cause their own tongue to fall upon themselves, meaning they're gonna let out certain information. So Nick Rockefeller told a guy, Aaron Russo, about the chip, right? Aaron Russo didn't want to be a part of the inner circle, and he talked about the aspects of the chip. He also talked about the 9/11 event that took place. He talked about a lot, and then he just basically he died from I believe the cancer he had shortly after. But nonetheless, he still spoke on these things, and we have the information. So we understand that it's total control, right? We understand that they want this chip implemented so they can control people. They're able to turn it on and off. They're able to control what you buy, what you don't buy, where you go, where you don't go, right? Because they're going to make the world digital. They've been talking about 15-minute cities. What does that describe? Places where you're in an area where it will take about 15 minutes to do whatever it is you need to do. That's why they have things talked about like universal basic income, whatever the case may be, just paying you. Where none of this plan and none of this will work. In my opinion, that's not how life was meant to be. Basically a prison, the whole world as a prison, a cell. And this wicked, he operates in wickedness, right? And that, for the most part, nothing really will be happening around the world, right? Because everything will be tracked, traced, right, and accounted for. And the devil, he does a lot of wickedness behind the scenes. So it will just be another snare unto him, even the chip itself, right? That's why it's not his chip, right? It's just a chip for us because it's a chip of Yahweh Bashim Shah, because it's a great testing, right? That's going to take place in these last days, right? To prove faith, to prove who the elect are, to prove a lot of things, right? To separate the wheat from the chaff, right? The elect from the 2/3. So that's all it is, in these last days, as we come to a wrap with this current kingdom, right? This is Revelations 3:18. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." Right, and we understand that the chip also will come on all around the world, right, and that we needs to not take it. Right, we're supposed to not take it because it's commanding us not to take it. Right, and it's going to be a testing because there's going to be things going on around the world where you might be tempted to take it. Right, but Lord willing, Yahweh Bashim Shah is with us and he protects us and covers us if we are that member of the hopeful elect, right? And he will keep us from this hour of temptation. So what we're doing now is, giving diligence to make our calling election sure, seeking him, rehearsing the righteous acts, warning the sheep, right? Rebuking, reproving, and telling all to repent and turn back, all right? Revelations 3:10 says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." And that's happened a lot. The scriptures talk about in the last days, grievous wolves, not sparing the flock shall enter, teaching, seducing spirits, damnable heresies, right? Just false doctrines. And you can see in these last days, as this M.O.T.B is ramping up, that's happening a lot. They got a new doctrine every day. And my message, from whenever I've been on here, the YouTube platform has always just been to avoid these people. All right, don't listen to them, because they might say something good for you one day, and the next day, um, it's off. I know you see the flashing lights over there, the gimmicks, it's like partying happening, right? You're hearing it, but just avoid it, right? It says, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, right, which is Yahweh Bashmashai, and I will write upon him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches, right? And you get this M.O.T. NLT says, all who are victorious will become pillars in the temple of my power, and they will never have to leave it. I will write on them the name of my power, and they will be citizens in the city of my power, the new Jerusalem that comes down from heaven from my power, and I will also write on them my new name. All right, and Yahweh Shai isn't going to get a new name or anything like that. His name is Yahweh Shai. But we will be judges over the earth, right? New Jerusalem will come down, right, and everything will be protected, perfected, basically. Get this red letter here. So this is Yahweh Shai. All right, so I just want to get that point. This was 3 and 8, just the hour of temptation. All right, Revelations 3 and 10, hour of temptation. All right, so back to the M.O.T.B, because like once again, that hour of temptation will be the testing period for the M.O.T.B, and I'm giving this one to show you that M.O.T.B is the system is being pushed around the world. This is Iran, Russia signed an agreement on cooperation in AI to show you that the wicked is reaching all over the planet Earth, just like the scriptures say that it'll be all over the planet Earth. We even have Iran, Russia, signing agreements on their AI, while we have, the EU and America and whatnot signing up on their AI, making different, regulations on it and bypassing different regulations. So it's all happening around the world, and this all goes into the system that's been set up. We also have, talks about central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and the getting around of the dollar. So all that is happening, they're moving fast to try to, basically counter that and establish the system quick, set up their digital currency so they can remain in power. And by that, I mean America, right? America wants to remain in power. That's why they're kicking and screaming here in these last days. And, basically bringing it all to an end. And ultimately, they're going to come down with a great wrath because they have a short time. So anyway, Russia and Iran, it says Iran Ministry of Information and Communications Technology and Russia's Ministry of Digital Development, Communications, and Mass Media signed an agreement on cooperation, including in the sphere of artificial intelligence, AI, Iran's public broadcaster reported. The agreement was linked by Russian Deputy Digital Development Minister Alexander, and Iran Deputy ICT Minister Maysam, okay? The signing ceremony crowned the fifth meeting of the two countries' joint working group in Moscow on Friday, an Iranian reporter specified. Apart from AI, the documents also covered the fields of cybersecurity, smart government, digital economy, and blockchain. And all of this goes into the system of the M.O.T.B, right? Because it all needs to be tracked and traced. It all needs to be digital, and you definitely need cybersecurity on basically a cyber net. Like that's where the world's going, right? Digital economy. This economy. Let's see what this is talking about. This goes into your money. It says the digital economy encompasses all economic activities leveraging digital technology, data, and connectivity, internet, mobile internet of things to transform traditional sectors and create new ones involving online transactions. So the first one right there is money. Online transaction is money. So you already, shop online, you got your Amazons and things like that. And all they're going to do is make it so basically money is gone and it becomes digital. And ultimately, they're going to allow it where you can just have it in your body, It says digital platforms and data-driven models that have efficiency, all right, innovation and global market access fundamentally changing how businesses operate and people interact. That's a key point right there, right? Because it'll be like with the chip inside your body eventually. So they're progressing here. It says key components include digital infrastructure, data, e-commerce, right, which is online shopping and things like that. It says digital services and technologies like AI and cloud computing, driving benefits like new jobs, financial inclusion, and improved public services, though it also requires new skills and policies. Yeah. So basically, the digital system being set up. So that was Iran. Here's this video on, the different states in America basically requiring ID online. And this is just another step forward of, um, you know, just driving home the point of M.O.T.B being set up, with them putting these different things out, requiring you to have ID for, these different states. And, they say whatever they want to say. Oh, it's because of this, because of that. But ultimately, it's because they're going towards the system, right? The M.O.T.B system. And we're constantly warning on it. So here's a little bit on this video. They're saying it's backfiring, and they're going to get a little kickback, of course, and they have to come down with great rap, right? Because as they're setting the system up, people are already like, nah, this thing that we don't want it. So what they're going to do is force them to want it by bringing all hell, here. Job 20 and 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fear of his wrath upon him and shall rain up it upon him while he is eating. Now, this is talking about the wicked, and what they want is total control. They want the whole world chip, right? And for them to just have total control, right? And we understand that they will push this chip out to the whole world. Certain people will not take it, all right? An example of that is the elect. The elect is not going to take it. They're not going to take the chip. So, and even now, the people are coming against him. This word wicked right here goes into the word labor, right, which is your working class people, just your regular day individuals, right? And they're not having it, right? They're worried about so many things as this dude goes on and to say, So here.
Literally half of the United States has already implemented age verification laws. That means 25 states, and that's not a prediction. That has already happened. With the newest state to join being Missouri, who's following a similar pattern where if a third of a site or platform's content is deemed, however they deem, harmful to minors, then they need to use age verification tools like digital IDs, government-issued IDs, or transactional data. These laws are so invasive that big tech companies like Apple and Google, trillion-dollar corporations, are...
And mind you, the children, right, the younger generation are the future generation. So that's conditioning right there. They're going to be now growing up, not that America has much time left, but they will be growing up now already, just connecting to the internet, having your ID on the internet, where the case may be, even getting ID. I don't know what age people get ID. Usually you start driving, whatever the case may be, you get ID or anything like that. But now they're going to need ID. They're going to be connecting to ID, and they're going to grow up from whatever age to whatever age is already conditioned to, oh yeah, nah, this is normal. I got to connect basically all my information to the internet, and then eventually myself,
actively fighting this because they think it goes too far. Think about that. The companies that usually don't care that much about privacy are saying, no, this one's a little too dystopian for us. And the dark part is that this is spreading globally. Australia is implementing this in December. The UK has already passed it, and it's already a thing there. And there's serious talk about making this federal in the US. I want to start by outlining the problems, because no one is against keeping children safe. That's not the problem here. But there are actual real problems with these kind of things that aren't at all being properly discussed. The first is that there is a serious privacy concern here. Your government ID is potentially being stored on servers run by companies with zero legal accountability. Problem two is, even if you trust whoever you're giving your ID to, there's no guarantee it's being kept safe. The Discord breach is a great example of this. They were complying with the UK's age verification laws, and because of that, they had to collect IDs, and this was leaked by a third-party vendor, and now all of those are out, so anybody can view them. This is a massive data breach with serious problems affecting people's government ID photos, their names, Discord usernames, email addresses, contact details, billing information, and even customer support messages. So this is some serious stuff, all because of keeping people safe. Problem 3 is that this would completely eliminate any sense of anonymity for sensitive searches. So if you ever need to do anything that requires any layer of privacy or anonymity, this could potentially jeopardize your ability to do that. And the EFF has their reasons why. They say this scheme would lead us further towards an internet where our private data is collected and sold by default. The tens of millions of Americans who do not have government issued identification may lose access to much of the internet, and anonymous access to the web could cease to exist. And I don't really want to see what that looks like. The fourth issue with these laws is that apps can get blocked from entire states, because now that we are KYCing app stores, and this is now some kind of precedent that states have the ability to control what apps you can get from an app store, which is what Texas has directly proposed. That is not an exaggeration. Texas has passed a law that requires KYCing yourself and handing over some way to verify your age and identity to the app store, in this case, Apple and Google, before you can download even something as simple as a weather app. And that's pretty easy to extend to just outright banning an app at a certain point. And I think arguably the most ridiculous problem of all, problem 5, it's not even proven this crap works. Like, that's the craziest thing about this. When they propose these regulations, they're not proposed because there's actual real evidence of this working or examples of which this has been successful. This is from a fairly neutral.
The reason why it's proposed, because this goes into the plan, right? A plan that has been, meditated on, thought about already, prescribed. Isaiah 10:1 says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and the right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And ultimately, this was the point, right? Because if you have the M.O.T.B, they can do all these things basically to perfection, deny you different rights, just total control, basically. All right, and Salakia, bear with me 1 second. All right, Salakia. I wanted to go over what I had just read in that Revelations 3 regarding the new name. I knew it was talking about rank. I wasn't too sure on the precept right away. So I'll read this again, just to clarify, to give you all the meat off the bone, the 1% truth of what it's talking about. Revelations 3:12, it says, him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go out no more, and I will write upon him the name of my power and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name. Right. Once again, it's not talking about a new name, right? We will rule. And when I say we, I'm talking about the 144,000. And ultimately, it just goes into rank. All right. Because there's a ranking system in the kingdom. You have, of course, Yahweh, then you have Yahushua, you have King David, you have the 12, you have the 144,000, all right, which would be the governmental body. And this is just, talking about us getting that rank in that position, right, and rule in the authority of the name of Yahweh Bash and Yahushua, right? Because we already have the name, like I said before, there's no new name, all right, that's going to be given. But let me grab these true scriptures. As a matter of fact, let me show you this, the word name here. All right. So it says in point 2 right here, the name is used for everything which the name covers, everything the thought or feeling of which is aroused in the mind by mentioning, hearing, remembering the name, i.e., for one's rank, authority, interest, pleasure, command, excellency, deeds, etc. All right, so it ultimately, goes into, rank and authority, right? Because we already have the name, right? And there's no way around it, right? Like I said, there won't be any new name given. All right, his name is Yahushua. The father's name is Yahweh. Grab the Revelations 14. It says the Lamb and the 144,000 on Mount Zion, right? And this is Yahushua and the 144,000 in Israel, right? It says Revelations 14:1, and I looked, and lo, a lamb thrown on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 having his father's name written in their foreheads. Right. So once again, the 144,000, will rule, the governmental body of the kingdom. You get his name here. It says the father's name written in the forehead. It's the same word as, the one I just gave you in Revelations 3. And it goes into, once again, for one's rank, authority. All right. Because the 144,000 will be in charge. All right. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of helpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the four elders. And no man could learn that new song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whatsoever evolved. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found a vow, for they are without fault for the throne of Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai. Right? Okay, this is the 144,000. And they, basically created the earth with Yahushai in the beginning, right? And they're going to be the governmental bodies, right? And we're singing that new song now, right? And teaching that new song to the sheep, right? To the hopeful elect, the 1/3 in the great multitude, So as you can see that the word name there, it says, give my father's name, which his name is Yahweh, but that's not actually what's going to be. You're not going to see the name Yahweh on our foreheads. It's just authority, a rank, right? Like when Yahweh Shai came down and Yahweh Basmi Yahweh Shai said, this is my beloved son and one, I'm well pleased in, right? Basically putting his name on him, his rank on him, right? This is him, this is the God. So it's the same with the 144,000 in that case, So Lord willing, you understand what that's talking about. It's like here. So read it again, Revelations 3:14. Him that overcometh, I make a pillar in the temple of my power. He shall go no more out, right? In the New Jerusalem, right? New Jerusalem is going to come down, right? Which is what we're waiting for. So the new kingdom, right? Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my power and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which comes down out of the heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name, right? Which is the rank and authority to that the government, the governmental body, whoever they be, that's what part of the hopeful elect, right? And you're gonna have the great multitude that is gathered together, the 1/3, right? That's gonna be gathered together that had that position of standing up and not bowing the knee to the beast or anything like that. All right. So that's that right there. We get a little bit more of this video regarding the M.O.T.B, and this is another warning. Okay.
Source about this topic. They try to cover the good and the bad. And the bad is, following the UK's rollout, there was a significant rise in VPN traffic. When Pornhub blocked certain US states after they passed age verification laws, users turned to smaller, unregulated sites that lack safety measures, which undermines the initial goal of even protecting children in the first place. And we've already seen upticks in VPN usage because people just don't want to deal with this stuff, and they're going to access the websites anyway. And so we have all these problems that come along with these potential tiny benefits that aren't even proven to be real.
And we can see this right now, and you have the Epstein list and everything going in the White House, and no one's been arrested, right, on a day-to-day basis. Right, so you don't actually give a fuck. Once again, it's all about control, and we're just warning against it. Not to take it, the M.O.T.B when they offer it to you, because they're not going to help you in no way, shape, or form. All right, and this is of course Revelation 13:15. It says, "And he, right, Esau, even the wicked, had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Right. And ultimately, they're pushing out this system around the world. Right. And ultimately, it will cut off individuals that don't, get in line with the system. Because if it goes digital and you need the chip to buy and sell, you can't buy and sell unless you have that chip. So you'll be X'd out. I be thinking about the Amish. I see the Amish, whatever around a lot regarding the system, and they're kind of already X'd out, but they're able to make do because of the current, way of society, but once that chip comes, they still have to, make money and buy the animals that they cook and all these different things. They're gonna have to, basically make a decision, to get that chip, or they're gonna be X'd out of society. Okay. It says, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, or in his word, mark goes into charagma. All right. Charagma, right? It says a stamp and a printed mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, the mark branded upon horses. All right, so things carved, sculptured, graven image, right? This is a stamp and a printed mark, right? Something physical that they're gonna imprint into you, put into your body, right? Charagma, that's that mark. It's the M.O.T.B, the RFID chip. It says Revelations 13:17, and that no, so you're gonna receive this mark, right? In the right hand or in their foreheads, and it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So you're gonna need this mark to buy and sell. It's gonna be something physical, right? It's gonna integrate you into the system that they're building up in the world, which is a digital system. It says, so, and that no man might buy or sell save that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And here's wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, and his number is 636. Right? Ultimately, Esau, even the wicked, is tied to this number. All right. This chi-side stigma. You got chi-side stigma, which goes into the 666, and it's all around. You see them throwing up, different hand signals to different sixes. It's been shown throughout like Disney movies and all their movies and things like that, hidden in the cloud, 666, and all this extra shit. So none of that is like conspiracy theories or anything like that. It's actually scriptural, right? This number is tied to this man. That's the number he used. He's also in bed with Satan, right? So he's locked in with Satan basically. Was the Second Thessalonians 2 and right here 9, it says even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, right? So he goes to these different demons, and deal with them. So that 666 is like demonic, and he's tied to that number, and he does it. Isaiah 19:3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. Right. So these left-hand sources, right, to commune with the dead and the demons and things like that, they're connected with that. Isaiah 47. It says, Isaiah 47:12, it says, stand now with thine enchantments and the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. So we see that those movies and the witches and the warlocks and the spells and all those things are real. And that's why the scriptures say there's no enchantment against Jacob, right? Because the devil has the power to do different things, right? But for the elect's sake, it's not going to affect the elect, all right? So they tap into these left-hand sources, right? And they're linked in with that 666, which chi-side stigma, right? You get this word here. It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the bodies of ancient or oriental usage, right? So this was the root word of the chi-side stigma. Then you have the word stigma here, right, which goes into the mark. It said a mark pricked in or branded upon the body, right? To ancient or oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their masters or commander, branded or prick cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. So they're gonna prick and cut into your bodies to give you the M.O.T.B, right? So it's a lot of hints here. It's all connected. We see the 666 on them, right? 666 on them. It's all connected to them. We see that they're rolling out this digital system and they're trying to bring forth this M.O.T.B, which would be something digital and physical, and they will try to cut it into your body and place it inside of you to control, track, and all of that. But that this is the Most High's chip once again, right? The Most High being Yahweh Bashim Shai, right? And it's a testing for the people. That's it, and it's mainly for the Israelites, right? But we understand that the testing of the whole world is going to take place. All right. So pretty much that's it. Again, Revelations 3 and 10, it says, behold, thou hast kept the word of my patience. I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, right? Which shall come upon all the world and try them that dwell upon the earth, right? And the hour of temptation goes into the implementation of the M.O.T.B, and of course Jacob's trouble. All right. Because they're not going to be able to do this thing easily. as you can see, the people are coming up against it, right? They're barking back, and they don't want it as a whole. So they're gonna force it on them, by bringing complete hell here. You know, Jeremiah 30:6, it says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins? As a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Right, so Jacob's trouble, the great time of testing. All right, Daniel 12. Daniel 12:1 says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince who standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." All right, so the elect. But it's going to be a time of testing, time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, right? So that's the time we're entering into. And once again, it says there's been another warning going to that, Shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children, Shalom.